the impact Burkina Faso have made. And we are sitting here and we were talking nonsensical madness against that. He's a coup maker. He took gun and came to power. Those of you who have not taken gun, what have you been able to achieve?
Imagine a pastor from Ghana standing before a crowd and declaring that Ibrahim Traoré is the most sensible human being to ever lead a country in Africa. That's right. He didn't just praise his leadership. He said that no one has done more for their nation in the last 2 years than Traoré. But why would a pastor go so far as to make such a bold statement about a leader who took power through a coup? And why is his opinion causing so much controversy? Here, we would like to take a moment and thank you for supporting us and being a valued part of our strong community. And if you are not yet a member, we encourage you to join us and help build an even stronger community together. Let's get started. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's ascent to power in Burkina Faso is often viewed through the lens of the coup he led in September 2022. However, to reduce his rise to mere military action is to ignore the extraordinary work he has done in such a short time. The narrative around military coups in Africa is often negative, but Traoré's leadership goes beyond the surface level of a power grab. His rise marked the beginning of a significant shift in how African leaders could approach governance, political accountability, and national transformation. Burkina Faso, a country that had suffered under long-standing corruption, insecurity, and poor leadership, was in desperate need of change. Traoré's coup was not about personal gain or power, but about setting the country on a new path. When he took control, the country was facing multiple challenges: insurgencies from armed groups, corruption at all levels of government, and economic instability. Many African nations in similar situations might have succumbed to complacency or political paralysis, but not Traoré. What sets Traoré apart is his immediate action. He wasn't interested in maintaining the old order or simply shifting power among elites. Instead, he set about transforming the country in a manner few could have imagined. The first thing he did was tackle corruption head-on, something that has long plagued Burkina Faso and many other African nations. He didn't just issue public statements condemning corrupt practices, he acted decisively. High-ranking officials and even members of his military were arrested for embezzling state funds, and he made it clear that anyone caught in acts of corruption would face the full wrath of the law. This sent a clear message to anyone who might have thought they could continue business as usual. Additionally, unlike many military leaders who often focus solely on consolidating their power, Traoré looked beyond personal interests. His primary focus has always been on addressing the dire needs of the people. In a country where economic growth had stalled and public services were virtually non-existent, his approach was refreshingly different. He was determined to make the state function effectively for its citizens. His ability to accomplish so much so quickly demonstrates his clear vision and leadership capabilities. His willingness to take risks and take bold steps to benefit the country has reshaped Burkina Faso's future. Perhaps one of the most significant aspects of Traoré's leadership is the way he has shifted the public perception of what leadership in Africa can be. The coup was not a destructive force, it was the catalyst for change. Traoré proved that Africa does not need to be bound by traditional political structures that often prioritize foreign relations over domestic welfare. His example shows that countries can build from within without excessive reliance on foreign intervention or aid, and it serves as an inspiration to other leaders on the continent. While Western powers, like France, had historically maintained influence over former colonies, Traoré's refusal to bow down to foreign influence was another marker of his difference. He took action that prioritized Burkina Faso's sovereignty and independence from foreign dominance.
The impact Burkina Faso have made. And we are sitting here and we were talking nonsensical madness against that. He's a coup maker. He took gun and came to power. Those of you who have not taken gun, what have you been able to achieve? A month ago, this young man commissioned a tomato factory, $12 million. You people said you were building a dam with $12 million. Where is the dam? Where is your dam? This young man is a sensible human being. Sensible. human being. And he is working. The people feel he is some kind of an idol.
By demonstrating what can be achieved through decisive leadership, Ibrahim Traoré is showing the world that coups in Africa can be used as tools for positive change, especially when the leader is genuinely committed to transformation. It's clear that his rise to power wasn't about self-interest. It was about restoring dignity, security, and prosperity to a country that had suffered too long under corrupt rule. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. In Africa, many leaders tend to prioritize regional politics over national interests, especially when dealing with organizations like ECOWAS. ECOWAS has historically had a significant influence on West African countries, with its leadership often pushing for political stability and conformity with Western-style governance. However, Captain Ibrahim Traoré is a stark exception to this norm. His defiance of ECOWAS has proven to be not just a political statement, but a necessary action for the independence and sovereignty of Burkina Faso. Traoré's relationship with ECOWAS has been marked by open defiance. When ECOWAS imposed sanctions and called for the reinstatement of Burkina Faso's previous leaders, Traoré simply ignored them. While other African leaders might have buckled under the pressure of ECOWAS and international condemnation, Traoré has stood firm in his commitment to his people and his country's future. ECOWAS historically has had a mixed record when it comes to intervening in African countries' internal politics, and often its decisions seem more motivated by regional influence than by genuine concern for the people involved. Traoré's rejection of ECOWAS's influence has been crucial for Burkina Faso. His refusal to follow the traditional path of submission to foreign powers is part of a larger push for self-sufficiency and a break from Western influence. He's made it clear that his administration will focus on what's best for Burkina Faso, rather than following the directives of international organizations that often don't have the country's best interests at heart. The real game changer, however, is that this defiance is not rooted in political opportunism. It's about the survival and future of the country. By not yielding to ECOWAS, Traoré is positioning Burkina Faso as an independent force in West Africa, one that is no longer beholden to outside powers. His actions are empowering the people, making them feel that their country can determine its path without external interference. This shift is seismic because it challenges the established political norms within West Africa, where many leaders have been willing to bend their knee to ECOWAS in exchange for political legitimacy or aid.
A young man can build tomato factory, build schools. He has shut his doors. Someone say ECOWAS. I didn't care about your ECOWAS. Now, look at a leader comes and invites this young man. He's seeing that this young man but you're marketing too fast. I haven't said, I am only pointing my head. Sorry, Apple. Sorry.
Additionally, Traoré's decision to ignore ECOWAS has allowed Burkina Faso to take more direct control of its resources and economy. The sanctions imposed by ECOWAS have not brought the country to its knees as they might have done to other nations. Instead, Burkina Faso is finding ways to operate independently, establishing economic projects and local solutions without relying on external help. His government has invested heavily in local industries, such as agriculture, and has begun fostering economic ties with countries that share similar views on sovereignty and independence, including Russia and China. This level of independence is unprecedented in many African countries, and it's proof that Burkina Faso, under Traoré's leadership, is reshaping its future free from the influence of foreign entities and organizations that often have more interest in the country's resources than in its people's well-being. But that's not it. One of the most impressive aspects of Captain Ibrahim Traoré's leadership is his relentless anti-corruption crusade. In a continent where corruption has long been seen as a part of the political system, Traoré has come in with an iron fist, ready to clean up the mess left by years of mismanagement. Unlike many leaders who talk a big game about tackling corruption but fail to follow through, Traoré has been ruthless in his pursuit of a transparent, accountable government. When Traoré came to power, Burkina Faso was plagued by corruption at all levels. From government officials pocketing public funds to military officers using their positions for personal gain, the system was rotten to its core. However, rather than simply paying lip service to anti-corruption rhetoric, Traoré took real, tangible action. He immediately launched investigations into the most high-profile cases of corruption, focusing on politicians, businessmen, and even military personnel who had been siphoning off state resources for their gain. One of his first major acts was the dismantling of several corrupt government ministries that were responsible for embezzling public funds. He introduced strict audits of government spending, which led to the discovery of millions of dollars that had been misappropriated. This led to the firing and prosecution of multiple senior officials, sending a clear message that corruption would not be tolerated under his administration. Traoré's anti-corruption efforts weren't just about punishing the guilty. They were about setting a new standard for governance in Burkina Faso. He worked to establish new systems of transparency and accountability, ensuring that the government operated in the best interests of its citizens. His administration worked to overhaul the public procurement process, putting in place checks and balances that made it harder for officials to steal from the people. What makes this even more impressive is that Traoré didn't just target the easy targets. He went after the biggest fish. There were reports of him overseeing investigations into top military officers and influential businessmen who had ties to the old corrupt regime. His no-nonsense approach to cleaning up government institutions has earned him the admiration of many citizens, who feel that for the first time in years, their leaders are working for them, rather than enriching themselves at the expense of the people. The impact of these efforts is profound. As corruption begins to be rooted out of the government, there has been a noticeable improvement in the delivery of public services. Traoré's reforms have led to better infrastructure, more efficient public services, and a more stable economy. His focus on transparency has also increased international confidence in Burkina Faso, attracting foreign investment and partnerships that would have been unthinkable under the old regime.
The word we on my undiska obe coup onem obebo wutiri mutu. He will shoot you in the head. Try and chop money in the government of this young man. Obasa unu seni tu obana. Yeah. Mo motiyo na mure yina samosa ye hufu oka. And we allow somebody with a gun to come close to our president. Soldier for the police for now Independence Square. You are too much hypocritical people. Young man, kosuya wajuma.
This bold stance on corruption is not just a political move. It's a moral imperative. In a continent where corruption has been allowed to fester for too long, Traoré is setting a powerful example of what can be accomplished when a leader refuses to be swayed by the temptations of power and wealth. His work in rooting out corruption has made him a figure of admiration across Africa, and his efforts are showing the world that change is possible, even in the most challenging environments. So, what does the future look like under Burkina Faso rule? Captain Ibrahim Traoré's leadership has been nothing short of revolutionary for Burkina Faso. In just 2 years, he has transformed a country that was once mired in corruption, insecurity, and economic stagnation into a beacon of hope for the continent. His refusal to be swayed by foreign influence, his focus on anti-corruption, and his commitment to energy independence are laying the groundwork for a brighter future for Burkina Faso. What makes Traoré's leadership so special is his ability to balance immediate action with long-term vision. He has shown that it is possible to make significant progress in a short period, even in the face of immense challenges. But perhaps more importantly, he is setting a new standard for African leadership, one that prioritizes the people over politics, and one that is unafraid to challenge the status quo. As Burkina Faso continues to build its energy infrastructure, root out corruption, and expand its economy, the country is poised to become one of Africa's most successful nations. Under Traoré's leadership, Burkina Faso is not just surviving, it is thriving. And as the rest of Africa watches, one thing is clear. If the rest of the continent follows Traoré's example, there is no limit to what Africa can achieve. One thing is absolutely clear after watching Ibrahim Traoré's leadership. Africa, and possibly the world, needs more leaders like him. Whether they rise through a coup, a democratic election, or any other means, what matters most is the impact they have on their people and the transformations they bring to their nations. Captain Ibrahim Traoré has shown what it means to lead with vision, integrity, and dedication. In just 2 years, he has reshaped Burkina Faso, taking it from a country riddled with corruption, instability, and insecurity to one that is witnessing real growth, progress, and hope for the future. Traoré didn't wait for the ideal political circumstances or the perfect electoral system to get started. He simply took the reins and acted. His rise to power through a coup, which would typically be seen as a controversial or even dangerous move, has instead led to tangible results that are transforming the country. His work is a powerful reminder that sometimes drastic action is exactly what is needed to get a nation back on track. While the traditional political route, peaceful elections, democratic processes, and institutional reforms should always be the goal, the reality is that many countries in Africa and around the world have systems so entrenched in corruption, inefficiency, and stagnation that waiting for the perfect circumstances can mean years of wasted potential. We've seen too many leaders who are more focused on maintaining the status quo or enriching themselves rather than improving the lives of their people. These leaders are often content with sitting in power, content to see their nations decline as they line their pockets or protect their interests. Traoré, on the other hand, did not settle for that. He recognized that Burkina Faso, like many other African nations, needed something more than just empty promises and political games. It needed action. It needed transformation. And he delivered. He didn't just take power for the sake of it. He took it to make a difference. His anti-corruption efforts, investment in local industries, and commitment to security have already brought significant changes to Burkina Faso. These aren't just symbolic acts. They're real, practical steps that are improving the lives of ordinary citizens. This raises a larger question. Why should the means of a leader's rise to power be the primary focus when the results are so transformative? In the case of Traoré, his actions speak volumes. His focus on serving his people, driving change, and making hard decisions is exactly what many countries desperately need. It's a bold, sometimes controversial path, but it's getting results. If more leaders were willing to prioritize their people over politics, we might see nations rise to greatness, whether or not they follow the traditional routes to power. In many African countries, political systems are often bogged down by corruption, inefficiency, and a lack of genuine leadership. Leaders who come into power with noble intentions are often derailed by internal politics or external pressures. In these cases, the traditional ways of doing things just don't work. Sometimes a country needs a fresh start, someone willing to break the mold and take the necessary risks to change things for the better. That's what Traoré has done. And his leadership is proof that change is possible even under the most difficult of circumstances. The lesson here is simple. We need more leaders like Traoré. Leaders who are willing to make bold decisions, challenge the system, and put the needs of the people above all else. Whether by coup, election, or another path, what matters most is the willingness to put the country's future first. If the people of Burkina Faso are better off today than they were under the old regime, then it's a clear sign that the country needed a different kind of leadership, one that wasn't afraid to challenge the old ways. If more leaders across the continent and beyond adopt this mindset, we could see a new era of leadership that is defined by action, integrity, and real results. So yes, we need more leaders like Traoré, no matter how they get to power. The world needs more individuals who will take action, confront corruption head-on, and focus on creating a better future for their nations. Whether it's through a coup, a revolution, or a democratic transition, the key is that these leaders are willing to break the mold and change the narrative for the better. In the end, it's the results that matter, and Ibrahim Traoré's results speak for themselves. Do you think Africa can have a better leader than Traoré? What will Burkina Faso look like in years? Let us know in the comments section. Does that matter how Traoré got power? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.